Hello everyone, welcome back to the Power Pools channel. Just thought I would do a bit of an outro video really for this particular car. So in one of my last videos I'll give you a walk around with this car, which was just talking about its modifications and stuff and obviously why I bought it. Now it's fully back to standard and it's about to go off to its new owner. So I thought I would just kind of go around the car once more, kind of show you what a clean standard example looks like, and maybe a few things that you might want to look out for if you're thinking of purchasing one yourself. So this particular one is a 2004 facelift Cosmic Grey Civic Type R EP3. It's fitted with a K20 A2 engine, mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox. As you can see, it's a 4-seater, I think these are, so they haven't got any middle lap belt, just 2 front seats, 2 rear. As you can see, obviously this is a facelift version, so it's got the different headlights, different front bumper, different wing mirrors, and also to take you around the back, it's got the different rear lights as well. This particular colour only came on the facelift, so the Cosmic Grey is exclusive to the facelifts, but it is really a stunning colour in the sunlight, as we can see today. The wheels have been refurbished in a light anthracite colour, which is actually quite a close colour to the match of the paintwork on the car. When looking to buy one of these, first things first, if you've done a bit of research, you'll see that they all suffer from rust or corrosion, which is really unfortunate because they are a really good car. But the first points of rust, which you'll probably hear on the forums and stuff, is on the rear arches. So I'll just take you around to this one. Now this one has, when the facelift came from the factory, they had rear carpets in here, in this section. As you can see, these have been removed and fully wax oiled. So they start rusting behind here. There's a little grommet down the bottom where they usually you can poke them straight through, and they also start on the lips as well. As you can see, this one's all original, still got its original spot welds in from the factory. So this one's all good, but you might find when you are looking for a Type R EP3 that they are suffering from rust in those particular areas. Next place to check, I can't really show you on the camera, but is underneath the sill. So you just put your hands underneath here, have a good feel around, get past, there's a lip from the side skirt, get inside the lip and have a good feel around to see if it's soft. Again, that's a really common area for these cars to hold water and rust and rot, and usually you can poke holes in a bad example. So that's that. In the boot area as well, I haven't got the keys unfortunately to show you, but the rear boot well holds water, and they can kind of rot from the inside out. It's a problem with the rear light seals. You can get replacements from reputable companies or Honda themselves, and that does stop the issue, but just make sure that you check the rear boot well where the spare wheel is kept when you are looking at one of these cars. So rust aside, next thing to consider is the engine, which is kind of the party piece of the Honda Civic Type R EP3. It's a K20 A2, and those engines, typical problems, first of all, smoking under acceleration or deceleration, which is a sign that the piston rings are either gone or the valve stem oil seals. And next thing is timing chain. So these cars don't run a timing belt, they run a timing chain, and these can stretch over time, especially on abused examples or cars that have seen a lot of track action. So I would advise that you have a look to see if that's been changed. It's not the end of the world if the car still performs right and it's not using a great deal of oil. But just be warned, obviously these cars do rev high, and they can burn oil if they are abused a lot, but if you take them steady, obviously the oil consumption is much reduced. Where else on these cars? So if they've been stud a lot, the brakes, particularly the brake calipers, can't stick. Replacement items for the front, I believe, are around 120 to 130 pounds from somewhere like Euro Car Parts. They actually sell the Nissan's ones, which are what was fitted from the factory, but it doesn't have the Honda price tag of the main dealer. And also on the rear, so I believe this car did have some replacements. I'm not sure if it was this side, but it did have a replacement rear caliper because they also stick. So just factor that in. If everything's moving freely, then you've got nothing to worry about. But that's definitely something which I would consider. Other things, so gearbox. While I'm talking about the engine, brakes and all that kind of stuff, you can't forget the gearbox on these cars. So they are in a central position. I have shown you in the previous video. If you look, and you will see there. So that's it. So where the gearbox is placed might be the cause of some of the synchro mesh issues. Obviously they are really good gear shifter location, but they do get some wear on the synchro. So first and second synchro, second and third synchro, and also third and fourth synchro as well. Fifth and sixth you don't tend to get problems with, that I've heard of myself, but definitely check when going from first to second, second to third, and third to fourth, especially when cold and when hot, because obviously the oil temperature will change and the operation of the gearbox will slightly change as well between cold and hot. So make sure that you give it a good test drive and make sure it goes through all the gears properly. Other things to consider are the steering racks, which can fail on these cars, particularly the facelift over the pre-facelift. Again, they can get sticky, the sliders can get sticky on the steering racks, and a whole manner of other issues. So make sure that it turns left and right as it should, and it feels okay on the road and it doesn't wander around. Some of these cars have been modified, some extensively. Some can wander around on the road, so make sure that it's had a four-wheel alignment done recently, or ask for proof of that. Other things to consider, there are some crash damage ones out there. Now, this isn't always a bad thing, as long as you can you know where the repair was, or if you can't find it, it's been done to an absolutely fantastic standard. Again, I wouldn't overlook a written off car just for the sake of it being written off. If the car's really clean, it hasn't got any rust, then definitely consider that car to purchase. Again, just to go back over it again, so oil consumption, check your oil. Once you bought the car, check your oil regularly. I would advise personally once a week or once every couple of weeks, depending on the usage the car's had. If you've been giving the car a hard time, then I would definitely check it, more so straight after you've been giving the car some grief. So if it's been on track, or if you've just been out with a B-road blast, check it beforehand, check it after, just in case. The last thing you want to do is for the car to start with oil. Again, I mean, these cars, they are Honda, they are reliable, but you can get issues with them, so just be mindful of how it's being looked after. Check the service history out. Check, if you're in the UK, HPI report, which will tell you if the car has been damaged. And another thing to check is the MOT history, which you can do here in the UK. MOT is a test which every car has to undergo every year, after it's 3 years old or older, and on there you'll be able to see any reports of any corrosion, oil leaks, things like that. So it's definitely worth doing your research on the car that you're going to look at beforehand. This particular one that we're looking at now is a 2-owner car, I believe. and going through the MOT history, the only things it's ever been advised on is for slight wear on a rear tyre and slightly worn brake pads. So you can see already every MOT is being passed, so there's nothing to worry about when you're going to look at the car. It's obviously well looked after, for example. So yeah, so that's pretty much it as I can think of off the top of my head. Just make sure, like I say, if it drives right, if there's no rust, it doesn't smoke, there's no crunching in the gears, there's no ticking from the engine or anything untoward, then it sounds like it's probably going to be a good car for you. I mean, if you can get it on a lift, then definitely do so. If not, don't be afraid of getting down on your hands and knees, having a good look underneath, and also having a feel around as well, particularly behind the rear carpets and the arch liners and on the sills. So yeah, so that's me signing out for today. Again, I'm sorry to see this car go, but it is going to a good friend of mine, and I have mentioned in the previous video that I bought a black Civic Type R EP3 to do some track days with, which is just there. So I did a feature doing a little bit of weight reduction on it, and also fitting some seats. I've done a track day in the car since, so I'm going to do another video on this car soon, with a bit of a report back from the track day, things that I want to improve. It was a bit of a last minute thing, so like I say, it wasn't perfect. I knew it wasn't going to be, but it was definitely worth going and having some fun and seeing which direction I want to take the car in. So thanks again for watching. If you do like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe.